The Gospel of the Lord.
Praise to you, Lord Jesus Christ. Please be seated.
My dear brothers and sisters, today is the first Friday of the Lenten season. And as we have heard in our readings of today, we would speak about fasting, which is one of the disciplines of Lent. We know that there are three disciplines of Lent, namely almsgiving, praying, and fasting. And in today's liturgy, it speaks about fasting. And of course, the gospel reading today would speak about the necessity of fasting. Kailan ba kailangan tayong mag-fast? Mag-ayuno? The disciples of John approached Jesus and said, "Why do we and the Pharisees fast much, but your disciples do not fast?" And Jesus answered them, "Can the wedding guest mourn as long as the bridegroom is with them? The days will come when the bridegroom is taken away from them, and then they will fast." The gospel itself would speak about the necessity of fasting and when, in which sometimes practice does not have the significance because it was taken out of context and out of place. We are now on the Lenten observance, and there is the necessity or need of fasting. And perhaps ang ating pangunawa ng fasting ay yung bang bawasan natin ang ating pagkain. No? It is more on deprivation of food. It is more on regulating our sense appetite. Yes, that's fasting. But in our first reading today, would speak about there is more in fasting or regulating our sense appetite. There is more in deprivation of food. But fasting has a more deeper meaning, which is, this is also what we call depriving of our spiritual obesity. No, obesity, yung bang bumigat yung ating kilo, lumaki ang ating pangangatawan. I think sa panahon ng pandemya, obvious naman na karamihan sa atin ay bumigat ang timbang. Medyo lumusog po tayo. Pero hindi lang po iyon. Hindi lang po we are physical obese. Obese. Pangit po pakinggan ng obese kasi. No? Obese is not healthy. Parang napabayaan mo yung sarili mo sa kusina. Okay, napabayaan ka ng nanay mo sa kusina. That's why you're becoming obese. Lumaki ka ng lumaki. But more than physical obesity is what we call spiritual obesity. When you say spiritual obesity, yung bang lumaki kang lumaki sa mga evil tendencies and evil habits natin. Yung para bang we're not aware already na iba yung ating progress. Iba yung ating pagkahubog, marahil. O kaya iba na yung ating, our becoming personal development. And spiritual obesity is what we call our evil tendencies and evil habits, in which we have to fast from those evil tendencies and evil habits. Fasting is not only deprivation of food or regulating from sense appetite, but more than is that we regulate ourselves from our selfish or evil tendencies and evil habits. Our first reading today from Prophet Isaiah would remind us, my dear brothers and sisters, when he said, setting free the oppressed, breaking every yoke, sharing your bread with the hungry, sheltering the oppressed and the homeless, clothing the naked when you see them, and not turning your back on your own. Then your light shall break forth like the dawn, and your wound shall quickly be healed. Your vindication shall go before you, and the glory of the Lord shall be your rear guard. The invitation of this Lenten discipline, especially on fasting, is towards other people. When we have to look into ourselves, na mas marami yung binibigay natin sa ating sarili, but this time, in this Lenten season, is to look less for ourselves so that we can also look more, especially to be sensitive enough and to look to the needs of our brothers and sisters. My dear brothers and sisters, on this Lenten journey, may we have the true meaning of fasting, which is not only a deprivation of food, regulating our sense appetite, but more is we deprived from our evil tendencies, evil habits, and also that we regulate from all those so that we can say that God may grant us a new heart and a new person. Amen.
Please stand.
Jesus, the eternal bridegroom who ushers